The Belarusian Defense Ministry also stated that the country's military had completed training on the Russian Iskander-M complexes. The soldiers were allegedly able to master control in 3 weeks. Previously, this type of equipment was not in service with Minsk at all. Therefore, experts believe that these statements are only part of the psychological pressure on Ukraine and its allies.
Nuclear intimidation is effective when it is taken seriously, when the country against which this function is used really believes that nuclear weapons will be used against it. And then you have to make concessions. And now we see that Putin uses this function in his war against the West. Therefore, the answer to the question of what the West needs to do is unambiguous. We must stop being afraid of this nuclear intimidation as Ukraine did.
However, this does not mean that the nuclear threat can be ignored, but it should be understood that it does not come from Minsk but from Moscow. Numerous simulations of missile launches and exercises near the borders of the European Union indicate that Putin is not abandoning his attempts to use nuclear blackmail against the West. And the capture of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant only secured Russia's status as a nuclear terrorist. However, the main international organization in the field of nuclear security, the IAEA, reacts to all this extremely passively, which only pushes the Kremlin to raise stakes.
The IAEA, in the situation of nuclear terrorism in Russia, was unable to hold a special meeting, and these are 36 representatives of different countries on the IAEA Board of Directors. The organization, at its General Conference, which takes place annually in the fall, did not consider the issue of nuclear terrorism in Russia. And the worst thing is that the IAEA has never initiated consideration of sanctions against Russia for carrying out nuclear terrorism in the UN Security Council. None of these actions, stipulated by the IAEA statute, have been taken.
In 1986, negligence and non-compliance with engineering rules led to the accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, one of the worst disasters in history. More than 600,000 people participated in the liquidation of its consequences. Today, Moscow has created a threat of a much larger catastrophe when it occupied the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. However, the West does not impose sanctions on Russia's nuclear power industry out of fear of economic losses and escalation of hostilities. According to experts, Ukraine should focus its diplomatic efforts on the most motivated states, members of the Lublin Triangle.
When the Lublin Triangle was created in July 2020, maintaining regional security was among its tasks. Nuclear weapons on the territory of Belarus will largely influence the situation inside Poland, Lithuania and Latvia. Therefore, working on the countries of the Lublin Triangle forming a common position is the task for May-June 2023, which Ukrainian diplomacy faces.
Last week, the United States and NATO stated that they had not recorded evidence of the transfer of Russian nuclear weapons to Belarus. Since then, the position of the intelligence and defense departments has not changed, and the head of Ukrainian intelligence, Kirill Budanov, in an interview with RBC Ukraine, said that Russia would not use nuclear weapons when Kyiv regains control over Crimea. Reported by Pavlo Shtelmach, Danilo Kobza, UATV News.